Hey, North Liberty, it's FaceNick here. We're going to talk about construction today, because I know everybody loves construction. We're not actually going to be talking about road construction, which is a big improvement over previous summers. This year, we're going to be talking about 3 projects. The first project I want to talk about is our expanding library project, which is that way to me, but it might be a different direction for you. They started on it just last month. And they will be building this onto the west side of the current library structure. They'll be adding some more space for materials, more bookshelves and whatnot. There's going to be some additional meeting and study rooms that people can check out and do some studying, quiet time in there, tutoring, and that kind of thing. They're going to add a teen lounge for the youngins to hang out in and do their teenagey things. I think they're going to be playing Call Me Maybe in there 24 hours a day. Not sure about that, though. I'll have to check with Dee. They'll do a children's storytime room and play area. There is sort of that little corner right now, but this will be a little bit more expanded, and they'll be able to do story time in the library now, as opposed to downstairs in Jardine where they're doing it now. And all that extra space is going to give them the ability to bring in new technology and new materials that they don't currently offer, don't have the space to offer. Don't worry, I'm sure they're keeping the cake pan collection. That is technology that is good forever and will never be obsolete. So you can still get your R2-D2 cake pan if you want. They're hoping to have this all done by next summer. That's the summer of 2013. During the construction, some of the community center's parking will be unavailable, so they can get big trucks in and out, big piles of dirt and that sort of thing. But they are keeping the playground that is right adjacent to the site open, unless for some reason they're doing like explosives or other dangerous work that would cause them to have to shut that down. But they're hoping to keep that open throughout the whole project. Now we're going to go to the streets and maintenance shop. If you head down South Front Street, over on the right as you're heading down south, you'll see some red steel sticking up. They're building a new shop. It's going to be nearly 70,000 square feet. Right now, the old street shop is a lot smaller than that. This new shop will help house dump trucks and snowplows. It's going to have 4 bays for servicing these vehicles, as well as a couple of lifts for doing maintenance on things like city trucks and police cars, change their oil and that sort of thing. This new facility is going to have doors on both sides so that they can pull the trucks in and out. Right now they're set in 3 deep, so that if they want to get one of the middle trucks out, they've got to do a little sort of musical chairs thing to pull them out and pull them in and pull them out and pull them in. It's a really cute dance when they do it, and they've got a whole choreography that goes with it. But so that'll go away, but it'll be a little more convenient and a little more efficient. They also have a detached wash bay. It's a fancy name for a car wash. They're going to be able to wash those trucks when they come back in with, dirt and cement and snow, I suppose, on them, just to get them all nice and shiny. There's going to be a new parking lot down there for those guys. Streets and parks right now have to sort of share a fairly small lot. There's a lot of parking on gravel and grass. So there'll be a new parking lot down in that area. There's going to be more office space. Right now there's 6 folks sharing about 450 square feet. That's going to be expanded to about 1,300 square feet of office, so they're not quite so packed in there. The new office space is also going to have a break room, laundry, and a restroom and shower, because we all have to use the bathroom sometimes. They're hoping that this will all be ready to go by December, just in time for the snowplows. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the Ranshaw House project. Ranshaw House is just to the north of the community center. It's an old house that was built a while ago. How long ago was it built?
I don't know.
Erica doesn't know when it was built either. It's an old house. And it's been in a bit of disrepair. But last year we got a grant and put a new roof on it. This year, council approved funding for phase 2 of the Ranshaw project. So the Ranshaw project, the idea is to rehab the house into a community use such as a welcome center, a history center, a gathering place, and a social services resource center.
1908.
It was built in 1908, so more than 100 years ago. Thank you, Face Cheryl. The project, they're hoping to maintain as much historical integrity as they can, since right now it's on the process of being listed on the National Historic Registry. So this phase, which Council approved just last month, is going to repair the porches. They've got some nice big porches facing north and a smaller one on the south side. They're going to repair and replace the siding, which has had a lot of paint come off. They're going to actually insulate it, because right now we pay to heat the building in the winter so that the water to the house doesn't freeze. So they're going to insulate that, which will help bring some of those costs down. They're going to paint the exterior, and they're going to replace the windows. The project came in at about half of what they had budgeted. So hopefully when that whole project is done, they'll have a really nice place that, North Liberty's expanded so much in recent years that we've got a lot of new construction, whereas Old Town is still a pretty small part of North Liberty. So hopefully this will be a nice place, sort of bridging that gap between the new part of North Liberty and the old part of North Liberty for the community to use. And I'll see you guys next time on the next FaceNick. I'm going to go finish my coffee, because I drank leftover coffee in like half a cup this morning. It was awful.
On August 4th, we're going to do our first triathlon, youth triathlon here for the North Liberty Recreation Center. And talking with a few communities, they have done a youth triathlon for a few years now, and it's had a lot of popularity with the young kids, just trying to get them active. And so that was kind of our goal, to have something that they could do in the summer, and mixing with the swimming, bike, and run. So what the kids are going to do is, we have various ages from 6 to 14. The kids are going to swim at the indoor pool. They're going to bike on to Cherry, to North Front, Zeller, to Stewart, and then back here to the rec center, and they're going to run around Liberty Center. The kids have various distances. The 6 to 8 age group is going to swim 25 meters. They're going to bike 1 mile. They're going to run 0.25 miles. And then the 9 to 11 age group, they're going to swim 50 meters. They're going to bike 1.5 and run 1 mile. And then the 12 to 14 will swim 100 meters. They're going to bike roughly about 4 miles, and then run 2 miles. We have 32 participants currently enrolled to do the youth triathlon. Registration deadline is the 26th. The kids will receive a goodie bag. We're hoping for drawstring bags for them, water bottles, coupons, and they do get a free t-shirt for participating in the event. Upon completion, they'll get a participant's medal, and the top 3 finishers of male and female for each age group will receive a trophy. The race is going to start at 9 o'clock on August 4th. We'll have the oldest age group go first. 20 minutes later, then we'll start the next age group, and then an additional 20 minutes after that, we'll start the youngest age group. We would like the kids to be here at 8 o'clock for check-in. We will have a parents meeting and parents and kids meeting the Wednesday prior, just so we could talk about the routes, where kids are going to exchange from the swim to bike, and then also from the bike to run, and where the finish line will be, so that way that we can alleviate a lot of questions beforehand. After the race, they're going to have a few vendors that will kind of talk to them about healthy lifestyle choices for them and their families, so they can continue to be active and healthy throughout the summer and throughout the year. Some vendors that have already committed at this point are Hy-Vee, Pioneer Co-op is going to help us, C2C Swim, Sugar Bottom Bike, TriFit, Agape, and we're looking for a few more vendors at this point and sponsors. So if anyone's interested, please give us a call and we can kind of talk about what we have available. For the volunteers, we're looking for them to help us with the bike and run route. They will receive a free t-shirt for helping us out, and all the sponsors will have a little spot on the back for them for advertising. We're looking for about 30 more volunteers to help us out that day on August 4th. We're looking for about 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're hoping for this just to be a fun event for kids to do. Depending on popularity, we may look into doing an adult triathlon around here, or doing kind of an Iron Kids with more competitive. But really, we just want to get everybody involved, parents and adults and kids, obviously, for the actual race. And we just want people aware of what we have going on and getting involved in the swim, bike, and run. I think the community really cares about kids and their activity level and getting them started at a young age, and so that way they can continue it through their adult life. I know that the rec center and the city council is very excited about the race. And a lot of the vendors, they've given a lot of support because they're excited for the kids to get involved. It may seem kind of daunting for the kids to do the swim, bike, and run all at once. We do have some clinics for the kids to participate in July. There are 2 days for each age group where they can go and meet with Denise Barnhouse. She's with Tri-Fit Agape, and she can help out, talk to the kids, kind of put their minds at ease of completing everything at once, help them with transition areas from the swim to bike and then bike to run. She's also going to touch on fitness, nutrition, and then also about the bikes, bike helmets, and things of that sort. So she's going to be a really good asset for the kids before the races if they want to go and get some help with that.
Hi, I am Chief Jim Workentine with the North Liberty Police Department. Currently, we are in the hiring process, and we're hiring 1 new officer on this year's budget, and then we're also hiring another new officer to replace one that we lost earlier this spring that went to another department. It appears that we have 1 position filled, and it's going to be a certified officer from the Keokuk Police Department, and he's originally from Iowa County and is moving back to get closer to family. So appears he's going to be starting about the 4th week in July, and we look forward to having him join us. Our last new hire was Cody Jacobson, and he graduated from the academy back in April, and he is just now finishing up his field training officer program, and he will be going out on his own, I believe, starting next week. So with his training and everything, hiring, it kind of puts us back up to full speed where we were at. So hopefully it will help out or cut down on the overtime that we've been having to pay out to the other officers to fill some of the slots that we've been short on patrol with. With the hiring process, we started that back in May, and it is an ongoing process, and we're still working on trying to get that second position filled. Hopefully we can make a decision here pretty soon. One of the day officers, Officer Lee Bostad, just finished up helping out with Safety Village, which is a summer camp that runs for 2 weeks. In the previous years, I have always worked Safety Village, but unfortunately I just do not have the time to take 2 weeks out of summer and to work that. But Lee has stepped up and has been, for the last 2 years, been working the camp. We are going to get a new car this year to replace one of the Dodge Chargers. We will be replacing it with another Charger, but it is 2008, and it was the first Charger we got, and it's sitting with 90,000 plus miles on it, and it's definitely starting to show the wear and tear on the vehicle. Otherwise, we're just kind of keeping busy with current training. We just, in May, we finished up with our firearms qualification handgun, which we do up at the Cedar Rapids gun range. And then fortunately, we're not able to do rifle up there, so we have to drive down to Washington. And outside of Washington, there's a county range that we use. But one of the things that we are looking at is law enforcement agencies in Johnson County is Cedar Rapids wants to update their range. We're looking at going in to help them update the range, and the benefit for us, it would always guarantee us for the next 30 years to be able to use that range. And it also, part of that is they would put in a rifle qualification, which has to be at least 100 yards long, and that would save us a lot of time and money from having to drive all the way down to Washington to qualify, and we'd be able to do everything at Cedar Rapids range. And we're talking about 14-mile drive time from North Liberty. So as hopefully by the next time we do an update, I'll have more information on that, and we'll be able to or fill you in a little bit more on that. But Iowa City Police Department, Coralville, University of Iowa Public Safety, Johnson County Sheriff's Department are all going in on this, so it will be real beneficial to the Johnson County law enforcement agencies. The last thing I have is, but we have gotten a speed trailer, and we have trying to put that on streets that we feel that speeds are too high. If people have certain neighborhoods that they would request, you can either send myself an email or one of the other officers an email, and we'll add your street to the list. We try to rotate it around to a different location every day. Unfortunately, we've been having a couple issues with it, and we had to take it out of service and send part of it back to the company. And then this morning we were getting up and running, and one of the officers, we found we have some new issues with it, but he believes that was because of a update they did on it yesterday. So hopefully we can get that back in working order and get that around town. Thank you.
The North Liberty Community Pantry is currently in a space about 15 by 36 feet. So it's a pretty restricted space. That's our entire space. It's our reception area, our distribution area, and our storage area. We do as good of a job as we possibly can to store everything in this space, but it gets really tight at times. Thankfully, there have been times like when Construction happened down at Coral Ridge Mall, and we were able to get about 5,000 pounds for our pantry from Construction. And we had food stacked everywhere, on the floor, under the table, on every single shelf. I know that the volunteers that I had helping to put the food into the pantry weren't sure where it was going to go. I wasn't sure where it was all going to go. It's a great problem to have, but unfortunately there have been some times when we could have gotten free food from Table to Table, an organization that does food recovery, and we've had to say, I'm sorry, we can't take it because we didn't have the space to be able to store it. We definitely have to limit how many people can shop for their food at a time. We have about 4, maybe 5 families shopping at a time. It depends on if it's one person shopping or if it's a couple or something like that. Or if they have children with them, then maybe it's only 3 because that takes up more space. We often have lines waiting outside, whether that's rain, sleet, snow, or a beautiful day. There's often lines waiting outside, especially at the beginning of the shift when people know that we're going to be opening. They wait outside, and they might be able to make it inside and kind of crowd in the front of the pantry, but it's not a very big space to be able to have the number of people we sometimes have here. We currently just have 1 large room, so if families do need other resources, they have to talk about that in front of other families. There's no private space to be able to speak with families about, do they need resources such as WIC or food stamps, which is now called the SNAP program. There's no private way to have those kind of conversations. Our new building will be approximately 4 times the size of what we currently have. So it'll be just over 2,300 square feet, which is about the size of a nice size house, I should say. A good size house is probably bigger than that, but a nice size house, about 2,300 square feet. We will have a reception area where people can come in and wait inside. We'll be able to have chairs in there. We will be able to have even basic information about how to prepare things like what's a way you can prepare broccoli. And Iowa State Extension has some great resources that if we had wall space to put them up, I would have out continually updating information about how to prepare food on a budget, things like that. So it'll be great to actually even have any wall space to be able to provide those basic resources. We'll actually have 2 restrooms in the new building because of the size. We're required to have 2 actually. We'll have an office for myself, and then we will actually have a secondary office where the volunteers can have a space, or we're also going to be looking at having an AmeriCorps member this fall, so they would have a space, or else we could potentially have someone do some SNAP outreach, where the SNAP program is, the old food stamps program is what it used to be called, but we could have someone come in and sit and actually check and see if families are eligible to get food stamp benefits, which is a benefit to the community as well, because not only does the family get more food for themselves, but also they're spending those funds in the community. So it also supports the community. And currently only 33% of families in Johnson County who are eligible for SNAP benefits actually receive them. So it's actually one of the lowest counties in the state, and there's actually a move with the Food Bank Association to enroll more families in Johnson County because there are so few who are currently enrolled in the SNAP benefits. So that's another benefit of having an office space where you can have those conversations privately. We'll also have a separate distribution area, which means that we can manage our inventory more effectively. Families sometimes, and also our volunteers, get a little stressed if we have a lot of food or if we have a little bit of food, and we'll be able to maintain that more steady in a distribution area where it's a separate distribution area. And then we'll also have more space where families can shop more families at a time, but then also not feel as crowded as they're doing that. We'll have a 3rd large room that is a storage space as well, that is completely storage space. So we'll be able to have some bulk storage and be able to take food. We're looking at having a walk-in freezer. There is definitely not enough freezer and refrigerated space to be able to accept the food that we could potentially get that can go in those. So we'll have a walk-in freezer to be able to have more of that food, but then also if table to table comes and they have a pallet of dinners that I can get, I can take those and have a space to put them, to store them until we're able to distribute. You know, families want to be able to use fresh foods and vegetables. And this morning, someone was in the pantry and we had some what are called garlic scapes in the refrigerator. And these are fresh. They're very similar taste to garlic, although a little bit less, a little bit milder than regular garlic, kind of shaped like a chive. But people don't know what to do with these. So to be able to educate people and have some information about how do you utilize this food is really beneficial. I know one year we had kohlrabi which is not necessarily that popular of a food in the Midwest, but we had several families that they learned how to do it, and every time they would come, they're like, my kids love this, they love this, and it was something that their family just really enjoyed. So to be able to provide that additional information to be able to meet those needs and to be able to make sure that the food we receive is getting utilized. We don't want to have things spoil because they haven't been used because someone doesn't know what to do with it. We had tofu a week or two ago, and people are like, what is tofu? And it would be great to be able to have a resource and say, this is what tofu is, this is 3 ways that you can utilize tofu. And to even be able to have space to do that now, we don't have a space where we can even put that kind of information. We actually will be on the property of the First United Methodist Church still. We'll be at the regular parking lot in the same line as the current pantry. So we'll actually be at the regular parking lot, so we won't have to add additional parking, but we'll have plenty of parking, because while I did not mention that with the current space, parking is very limited and is definitely a difficulty and a barrier for families. There's about 2 or 3 spots right next to the pantry, and then you have to walk quite a ways to be able to get to the regular parking lot. The difference between ourselves versus a retail store is that retail stores have a grocery cart that you can take your food out with, whereas we don't really have a grocery cart, and to be able to do that. Now in the new building we will have some grocery carts because we'll have space to do that, and it will be more effective, but we'll also be at the regular parking lot, and it'll be more accessible and it'll be closer to the road, so I think people will be able to see it more easily as well. So far we've raised $200,000 of the $250,000 that we will need to build the building and move into the building. So have all the shelving and all those kind of things to open the actual building and have people in it. So far we've written grants. We've received multiple grants and $50,000 to $60,000 in grant funding to be able to provide for this building. We've also done mailings to the community, and we've had house parties where you invite a few people over and explain to them what we're doing with the pantry, our mission and our vision, and then ask people to donate. We have also had some fundraising events like our golf tournament. So we've actually done a wide range of activities, and we've received donations other than through grants. We've also received donations from individuals, from businesses, from throughout the community. It really has been a community-wide effort, and the majority of the donations have been smaller donations that have been made throughout the community. We want to have enough money before we start the building to complete the construction of the building. So the contract with our contractor to be able to actually complete that construction. We're going to do a little bit of work ourselves, like some of the flooring we're going to install ourselves and some of the paint and things like that, but we're also going to have a contractor who will do the bulk of the work to make sure that it's done in a professional manner. And then, so we anticipate being able to break ground sometime later this summer or early fall to be able to start the building. It depends on the speed of the contractor, but most likely I would say between 4 and 6 months after initiation that we should be complete with the building. You know, I think it's great that we really work to be neighbors helping neighbors. We want to have great relationships with the families that we're serving, and the families really take ownership of the pantry. This is their North Liberty Community Pantry. And I think it's great that through this building project, it really has been neighbors helping neighbors, and everyone has gotten involved and everyone has been willing to really take part in this process.